So we are going to take this pump completely apart. I was on YouTube last night, and I do believe the guy's channel name is Chris Craft, and he's working on a Chevelle, and he shows him taking one of these apart, and it's pretty straightforward, to tell you the truth. My only issue was I couldn't get the pump to separate from the body, but I saw how he did it, and we're gonna attempt it. So I'm gonna do little clips of me taking the pump apart. These are pretty much the basic tools that he had and I'm gonna use. You got a bearing driver or a bushing driver. Essentially got the two kits. A punch. We saw in my last video the pulley remover. Assorted air ratchets, 3/8 and 1/2 inch. A lot of the stuff's broken free already, so I don't think I'm going to be using this too much. 9/16 wrench, 5/8, seal puller, an awl, a couple of screwdrivers, brass hammer and a dead blow hammer, which I haven't pulled out yet. Brass hammer, dead blow, or a rubber mallet. So, I actually went out and got the kit. $13.90 at O'Reilly's. Comes with all the seals, the new shaft seal. Comes with the bearing there, the sleeve, all the O-rings. So we're gonna start taking this stuff apart. I'm gonna actually get stuff sorted out. I kind of got not much room on the bench here. We're gonna set you up somewhere over here so you can see, and we will see you in a bit. All right. Wow. These are 11/16. We got a 3/8 thread on it. That's how far as I got yesterday. I didn't get any further than that because I could not separate this from the housing. But what I saw in the video, I need a couple of 3/8 bolts. Go in about a 1/2 inch. He said go on about a 1/2 inch. I'd say he's right. You want to protect your threads as much as possible. Sorry, oh, shaky cam. Shaky cam. I have another one here. Now what he did is he put a socket on the edge of this thing. what I'm going to try to do is take my brass hammer. I'm going to lay this like this and try tapping this. There's the check valve. There's the check valve. That popped right out. Okay. Okay. Oh, the spring. I don't want to lose the spring. There's a spring in there. That's what the all's for. Come on, spring. Spring has sprung. I'm using a magnetic tray for all my parts. I want to make sure I'm not ruining my thread here. I'm gonna have to get a block of wood. Does sound like it's breaking free though. So remember, this case was really full of rust, so I don't know how the seal is doing up against it. I got a couple of nasties here. You can see the dents. That might have something to do with it. So we're gonna get a block of wood and try to hold it like this and try to punch that pump out. But I can't, the axle snout can't be sitting on anything, so wish me luck. Okay, I got the reservoir out, and it's clear to see that we had some rust. Lots and lots of rust. What I did was, like I said, I kind of screwed these bolts in about 1/2 inch. They're not just good for banging out dents. I used the curvature and I sort of cribbed it like this, and I just pounded on those back bolts. So now I got to actually got to clean up this pan, maybe do some body work on it, because it did hang up. It did hang up on this dent. So we're gonna take the body hammer too and clean it up. We're gonna clean the whole thing up anyways. So now what we have is essentially a pump body, and what I'm trying to do is I got to get behind this plate right here. There's actually a snap ring here. I'll clean it up a bit more. I want to clean it up, get some rags and clean it up first, get all this slurry off. And we're going to clean this all up, and then kind of behind this plate there's the impeller, which has, it's kind of like a housing, and then within the housing is an impeller, and they got these little paddles that kind of slide back and forth on themselves, and they're kind of rounded on the edge. So what happens is the more you accelerate further out centrifugally, those paddles stick out further and it'll give you more pump power. So what we're going to do is, on this pump there's a hole here. Sorry, you see that hole? That hole, what you do is you kind of jam a drift pin in there. It pushes the snap ring out so you can get a screwdriver on it and lever it out. So, but I do want to clean this first. I want to get most of the rust off. So, I mean, he's talking about, the guy that was doing the video was talking about sandblasting and all kinds of good stuff, and I really don't have a sandblaster. So I'm going to make do with what I have. And we're going to clean out stuff. We'll blow things out with the air hose. Wire wheel if we have to. But yeah, that's that. So we're going to wipe this down, get most of the slurry and junk off of it. Keep the O-rings on till the very last bit. There's a O-ring here, an O-ring here, and one here. And these compress against the back side of the reservoir, and that's what makes you seal. Okay? I learned that too. See? Always learning. And you can see the indent for the snap ring. It's right here. So what we're going to do is going to clean up a bit more, put the drift pin in there, give me some room so I can pop it out. And then everything comes out, and well, it's going to be all one big giant happy family. I do see a ball bearing here, almost like a check valve. That's kind of scary. If that thing's all rusted up, I don't know. But we'll see. Alright guys, I'll bring you back when I got this thing cleaned up. Okay, we're pretty much cleaned up. My only issue is this ball bearing and this ball bearing. They don't seem to be rotating in their socket. I know it's some sort of pressure relief. It works on the relief valve that rides in here. I've been working them, cleaning them up. I'm taking a pick and I'm just scraping gently around the outside edges, getting any muck off of there, and then I'm blowing it out. And I've been putting some power steering fluid and trying to work it in with my fingers to see if it'll break free and roll. But now we're to the point where I got to get the snap ring out. So you see that hole, you see this pin. It might get a little tricky. I don't know if you guys can see any of that. What happens is you gotta watch your face though, because that could hurt. There is pressure on this. Let me get it back in. It's kind of tough doing this. I had it on the vise. I did it. It was being held by the vise, but there we go. Gotta watch your fingers too. It feels like it would hurt. Come on, snap ring. There we go. Okay. Snap ring's out. Now, this plate in theory should come out, but it's probably bound in there. Let me try tapping. I'm using a brass hammer. Yuck. Yummy, yummy. More yuck. Cone shaped spring. Tape it in up towards the plate. Then there's two pins here that lock this all in. There's this guy, which has to be cleaned. Come on. Yeah, it really has to be clean. As we say in Portuguese, it's all cagado. The other pin. Now I'm going to try to pop. Yeah, look at that, huh? What do you think, fellas? We're going to clean all this up. So I'm going to take it out in the order that it came in. Blah, blah. Blah, blah. The impeller blades seem to be stuck. Only one's broken free. See the impeller blade? They're all stuck. So I gotta clean that out. I do believe there's another snap ring here that I can pop off, pop this whole thing off and clean it all out. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna punch the whole the whole shaft through. I'm using a brass hammer. Oh, I got a blade just fell in my hand. Let me put this so I won't lose it. And if you notice these are, focus you bugger, they're rounded on one edge and they're square on the other. The rounded edges go out. So we got a bunch of cleaning to do. I'm gonna try to punch the shaft through. Try not to lose any more of these things. Come on. See, I think I had a small socket here. Gently tap it. Almost, almost. There we go. Definitely gonna need a new seal. Alright. So, I had one impeller, one paddle. All the other ones are stuck. So I'm thinking maybe that's the issue for my tissue. So we're gonna clean all this stuff up, wipe it all down. Yeah, that's probably why I wasn't hitting any power steering. Alright, cool. At least I know. At least I know. Alright guys, bring you back in a bit. Alright guys, I'm to the point where I'm cleaning these pieces that need to be reassembled so I don't lose them. That's the top of the centrifugal part of the impeller. I'm going to call it an impeller. That's the base of it. This was all messed up. It was all like it must have been, from the rust and all the pieces of metal in here, this actual collar here was I wouldn't say pitted. It was almost like it was fused. So I went in with an emery cloth and I cleaned it off, and you can see it's nice and clean now. So we're in the process of putting the little paddles back in, and caution, be careful, take your time, because once one of these little buggers drop, especially if you got a crappy dirty garage like mine, you're gonna have a hell of a time looking for it. And I don't know if you can see it on the profile, but this top edge is rounded, which points out from the shaft. And I've cleaned out all these slots. They were all dirty, really bad, and I cleaned them all out. And now I'm in the process of trying to put this impeller back in. So they slide right in, and now that they're kind of moving freely now. You see them, they're moving around. See, they're all moving. They were all bound. They were all but two, and it's all nice and clean, blown out, blew everything out. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab some of the power steering fluid and just kind of wash it down and inundate it with power steering fluid. I've been wiping them and cleaning them, and they essentially just go into the slot. Just make sure the rounded edge is facing out, like all my Canadian friends would say, oot in the boot. I love you guys. Alright, so I'm just going to keep cleaning. This is kind of boring, and I'll bring you back. I still have to clean the base of the pump. This is really dirty, and I think there's an O-ring in here that I got to be careful. I'm feeling it right now with my finger. So that's got to be cleaned out. So I'll be back in a little bit. This might be a part 1, part 2 episode, because it's going to be too long, and I don't want to make really long videos. I don't like doing really long videos. So we'll probably do a part 1 and a part 2. So we'll see how far I get, and then I'll just I'll use my own discretion. Alright, see you in a bit.